Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about the black hole of low self-worth. Because when you believe that you're not good enough, everything in your life is proof of that. Someone didn't answer your text, oh my god, you're horrible, they hate you. You didn't make that sale, your product sucks and you should close up shop. That guy didn't text you back, oh my god, again, you're just the worst and you're never gonna find love. So a low self-worth becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that is extremely hard to get out of. And in this video, I want to explore what's worked for me, getting out of that loop, what even causes it, and what you can do about it so you can live a happy, strong, fulfilled life. And a healthy dose of self-doubt is good because you want to be in touch with reality. You want to make sure that your product isn't horrible and that you are a pleasant person to be around. But it's when that doubt runs rampant and it's a recurring pattern where you're always selling yourself short, that's when you need to reevaluate if maybe your standards are too high. So how can you know if you are suffering from low self-worth? One, you're not achieving your goals. So no matter what you do, you're not making the money you want to be making. You don't have the friends you want to have. You are just not where you want to be in life. And that's usually indicative of a low self-worth. Two, you always think everything is your fault. Kind of like I said in the intro, if someone doesn't text you, if a guy doesn't text you back, if things don't happen the way you want, you always blame yourself. And there's a difference between taking responsibility and then blaming yourself. And three, you avoid life. So you don't go out, you don't create things, you prefer to just hide because hiding, you're safe and no one can see that there's something wrong with you. So those are kind of the main indicators, and I'm always happy to go into another video. So if you'd like me to go deeper into the symptoms of low self-worth, please let me know in the comments. So where does low self-esteem even come from? So it starts with a traumatic experience where, to make sense of the world, you assume that it was your fault and that you caused it in a way, and on a meta level you probably did to go through the experiences that you need to go through. But from just a human who suffers pain, like obviously it was not your fault. But to make sense of the world, because this kind of trauma usually happens when you're young, you make sense of it by deciding that it's your fault. And so if it's your fault, that means there's something wrong with you. And if there's something wrong with you, well, that means you're broken, and everything in your life is going to show you how that's true. And just beyond that, because usually the trauma is just a trigger for a latent unworthiness that usually has to do with a lack of proper parenting and love from one of your main caretakers, so mom or dad. So it's usually, and then we can look, at soul wounding, but that all doesn't matter because it's probably gonna happen to 99% of people. The question that we're going for is, how can you move past that? So what can you do? First is awareness, because admitting to yourself that you have low self-worth is a huge and difficult step, because in our society we're encouraged to always present this happy face, a smile, confidence, and to just admit that I don't think I'm that awesome is huge. So I think that's step number one. And then if you're already past that step and you've known for a while that you don't approve of yourself, well then deciding that you don't want to stay here, because a lot of people can stay in this state and really indulge in these feelings, I mean me included, like indulge in these feelings of victimization, of depression. And so I think there is an amount of time where you want to stay in it, and then at one point it just becomes indulgent, where you're not truly feeling the pain, you're just staying in there, like waiting in a little you're waiting in a baby pool and then just being, oh my god, it's so sad, I'm drowning, when you just need to step out of the baby pool. And this might sound triggering and annoying, but if I hadn't gone through it, I wouldn't say that. The core of everything is just the belief that you can do it and there is light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that was the case for me, where I was, super anxious, super depressed, like there was no light. And I think that's the experience for most people when they go through their inner growth, inner journey, and then they come out and they realize, yes, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And then step three is starting to look for solutions. Now, we as humans, and I think it comes from this like monotheistic culture where it's like one God, one truth. And what I've come to realize is there's thousands of truths and thousands of solutions. In the book Get Rich Lucky Bitch, the author says that on her path to wealth, she tried everything. hypnotherapy, Reiki, yoga, journaling, just classical motivation, showing up, getting up early. That's what it is, because a lot of people, like a lot of marketing for programs says, are you throwing spaghetti at the wall? And that's kind of what the first part of any journey is truly just throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. So I'm not going to say this is the path, because there is no one path, and there are tools that can make the journey easier. So here are these tools. One, just reading, again, watching videos like mine, watching other people who are willing to share their journey and kind of doing what they did, reading books, signing up for seminars. I'm going to link a few below that I have loved and that are recommended, so that it could be like a full retreat, a 2-day seminar, a workshop. I think people put way too much pressure on like one coach, one therapist, one retreat, and your life, I mean, your life might become very different, but your life is not going to dramatically change from one retreat. Breath work is incredible. Again, I'm going to link a video below that you can start with on a daily basis, and then trying new things, getting out of your comfort zone and doing things you're afraid of, because our biggest growth lies on the other side of fear. And the truth is, all great things are very simple, they're just not easy. So it's about how can you keep showing up day in and day out. My recommendation is to spend your money, because for the longest time I thought, oh my god, I'm just gonna figure this out on my own. I'm not gonna give money to these coaches or these programs, because like what do they know that I don't? And in truth, sometimes it's not new information, it's the value of the container. And what you're paying for is getting it sooner, quicker, and easier, because money comes back and time doesn't. So instead of spending years in depression, have a mentor, do therapy, do coaching, throw spaghetti at the wall. In the end, it comes down to the why. What's your why? Maybe you just don't want to be in pain anymore. Maybe you want to be in more pleasure. Maybe you want to just see if it's possible for you to create the life you see on the internet. Maybe you want to create a better life for your children. I think for me, it was just like, I just don't want to feel like shit, and I want to feel better, and I want to do it in a way where I'm not, selling my soul. The other thing that I think doesn't get talked about enough is it is a grinding, painful, long process, especially in the beginning. And hopefully, for next generations, that won't be the case, because we would have done our work. But it is like Mama Gina says, crawling through glass on your hands and knees. And I think people want to avoid that. So they distract and dissociate with drinking, drugs, TV, social media, just numbing, because they don't want to feel the pain. And the only way out is through. So yeah, I think, okay, I take it back. I think my biggest tip would be to be willing to feel the pain without indulging. Because there's a lot of people who love the pain and who love suffering and just stay in suffering. So you want to alternate and kind of titrate between pleasure and suffering, and be able to go into both. So just expand your range. Thanks for staying. Make sure to watch the next video in my personal development playlist, and I'll see you next time.